The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Quirky Dog Podcast, inspired by some of the quirkiest dogs you can ever imagine and the owners who love them. This podcast is brought to you by the quirky couple themselves, Scott and Jess Williams. Their aim is to educate and entertain. Here's Scott and Jess.
If you guys tune in regularly, you know the last thing I need is coffee, but I just thought I'd have a quick sip. Happy Wednesday, you guys. Welcome to the Quirky Dog Podcast. We are coming to you from Salem, New Hampshire, and we have a super special guest today that we're excited to share with you. But first, we're going to start with the quirky tip of the day. And that quirky tip of the day is if you're looking to do something with your dogs that, you know, is kind of just more interactive, more fun than just take them for a walk or maybe go for a hike, look into dog agility. There's a lot of local dog clubs. Our guest today actually does dog agility in Puerto Rico, and he is an agility judge, and he's big on agility. But this is something that dogs can enjoy, and it can be interactive, and it can be fun, and it's a great way to expend their energy. So check it out if you've been interested in it before and want to try it.
And they also can learn some self-control on an agility.
Yes, there's a lot of good.
field.
There's a lot of good to agility. Okay, So today we have Rafael Quiñones from Puerto Rico.
What was his
Thank you
last name?
so much for joining us. Don't start. I practiced so much before we started, and now he's giving me a hard time. So I know Rafo we actually toured together in the Dominican Republic. We did like this crazy tour together. When was that? 2008?
2000, I think it was 2009.
My God, whatever. It was crazy. But I haven't seen him.
to tell about it.
I know. I haven't seen him since then. And we're excited to have him on today. We're going to talk dog agility during COVID, and just some old stories. So, Rafa, welcome, and thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Jess and Scott. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So, and we're wearing our PRAT shirts. So when did you guys when did you do this? This was after the hurricane, right? You did a fundraiser?
Those were done, 2017, right after both hurricanes here.
Yeah.
One of our good friends from Illinois decided to help us out. And I sent, between everything that had happened, we didn't even have power yet, but we got, with one of the generators, I was able to power up one of the computers and able to send the logo to her. And it was the whole thing that it was. It was really
well,
great.
a lot of us wear these shirts up here, so it was a successful fundraiser. I hope.
I can see the priorities were in order. No power on the island. I need my agility shirts made.
Well, it was a good fundraiser. You guys went through a lot. You lost like some equipment in the hurricane. It was a lot, no?
Yeah. Our training facility was like almost level.
Yeah.
It took almost 2.5 years to get it back.
Oh, it's crazy. So tell us a little bit about the history of PRAT. Was it you and Sharon? Rafa has a beautiful, lovely wife named Sharon. Was it you guys that started it originally?
Yeah, it was 5 of us, I believe.
Okay.
It was Sharon, my wife, Nicole, our friend, which you know.
Yep.
She went to dogs in Dominican Republic. Shayla, Sharon's sister, myself, and actually Nicole's mom.
Oh, okay. Okay, nice. Yeah. So when did that start? And I keep using the acronym PRAT, but it stands for Puerto Rico Agility Team. I'm just throwing this around. So
we started in 2000.
Okay. And then how has that grown over time? And like, where do you guys stand now? What does that look like during COVID? Like, what's kind of the last decade been like? Or 2 decades, I guess.
PRAT is a family, most, before anything else. We do everything together. We do train. We're a club. We do agility, but more than anything, we just hang out. We go to eat. Visit each other, everything. So, in terms of how big we are now, it goes up and down. Just agility in the island is, even though we've been here, doing it for 20 years now, it's just not everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get the word out, and people are getting interested, but it's not something that somebody gets into and see results right away.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Yeah.
So some people are just don't have the patience to really go through the process.
Yeah.
But we have a really good core people. We're about 12 really core members, and we probably usually are in between about 15 to 20 members.
Awesome.
But
big.
there's a core like 10, 11 people that
Yeah.
are
And you all
big.
get along, which is great. I mean, it makes agility sound fun again. It sounds great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
You got to be careful that they don't all kick you out now that you got this group.
He's joking. So you guys used to travel to the States a bunch to compete, right? But obviously, I mean, you guys probably haven't left the island since, what, a year ago?
No, since they started, our last trip out was maybe February 2019.
Yeah, so you're really on island time now.
Do you guys?
2020.
Yeah.
February 2020.
Yeah.
And did you guys tend to hop over to Florida to do trials more so than other states? I have friends in Puerto Rico that do French ring sport, and they tend to go to, West Palm Beach. They're going into Florida more often than other states too. It's just easy.
Yeah,
it's a
actually,
quick plane trip.
My wife's sister, Shayla, is her twin. She lives in Florida, so
Right.
we usually go and stay with them and go travel.
The woman's name is Elaine that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
She works.
Elena and Tomate.
Yes.
So
She comes up and trains all the time. She's always here when Patrice is in.
She's a fanatic.
And that's the thing is that there's a lot of really good dog trainers in Puerto Rico and like a lot of greatness, especially with both the two sports we're referencing with French ring and agility.
Can I just say, in relation to that, I just think that Hispanic people in general are better with animals than it seems to be, than people that are so Americanized and becoming detached from that relationship. They're having a harder time. And I only say that. I know a lot of people in Mexico that are great dog trainers. They're great with dogs. And I know a handful of people in Puerto Rico that are awesome with the dogs. So it's just a natural, they seem to gravitate more naturally.
Maybe you guys are more in the moment than us. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that just your relationship with animals is maybe not as crazy as it is in America right now. That's all I can say.
Or your temperature of what happens down there. So you were traveling more so to judge, though, than to compete before COVID hit, correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and how frequently were you leaving?
Well, on average, in a year, I would judge at least between 11 and 12.
How does your wife do when she competes under you? I'm just kidding.
Well, she can compete in
I know.
Agility's easier. There's less subjectivity anyway because you got to do certain things and hit the mark and everything. So that travel has changed, and you are like in USDAA as far as that goes. Like you're kind of involved in the agility politics and everything, being a judge, I would assume to an extent, right? So what was? Go ahead.
I've been judging since 2005. Yeah, 2005.
Yeah. And what has it been like? Like agility and, I mean, this pandemic, it's been hard on everything, but like, obviously numbers were down with trials. There was a lot of like trialing at home. Just kind of walk us through some of the way that has gone. What you had to do during COVID. Huh.
Yeah, and actually, I am actually part of the USDAA Agility at Home judging crew. So I'm designing courses. And
nice.
Courses for
Nice.
Agility at Home. And we've had a really, really good response to that program.
Is it a live
obviously
type
people
thing?
needed to do something.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
great.
exciting.
So that's been taking up a lot of your time, I assume, during the pandemic and dealing with all of that. So explain that process to Scott, because Scott's not on Facebook.
I envision the dogs jumping over coffee tables and things like that.
Well, he knows what agility is, but talk about agility at home. That's true.
Yeah.
But so it's people that they obviously have to have a certain course like size, right? Like what are the requirements to make all this happen?
Yeah, we usually it's actually every 2 weeks. We have different courses. Usually we have 3 different disciplines. So standard, jumpers, maybe a snooker, and then the other week we will have gamblers and things like that. And we design for different spaces. So we can design something. When we started, we were designing for 60 by 40.
Okay.
Which was pretty easy for somebody, to find a space that was 60 feet by 40 feet and do it. Now we're designing for 60 by 80, a little bigger sometimes. Because people are asking, for more space.
Yeah.
People are able to go to places, on social distance, but having more space. So when we were designing courses, it would go up on the USDA at Home website. and then people could see the course, and if they want to see it, they want to try it, then they would, sign up for it, and they have 2 weeks to submit their videos. Every course is divided in 2 parts, so they have to do the both parts successfully. And something we were trying to do with the program also is do some courses that also teach.
Yeah.
So we're doing courses that have different challenges and explanations of different options of handling or asking for a specific skill.
Yeah.
And then, they'll do it, they submit it, and then the judges go into the website, and then we'll see all the videos and judge the runs and everything.
That's great.
I was going to say, it sounds like it would be a good opportunity for people that are doing agility but are having a lot of trouble with reactivity to other dogs. Because now they could do it at home, and there isn't all that distraction.
Well, and I think the level of people that were that hardcore and had all the equipment probably didn't have as many of those issues anyway. But it's been a nice way for people to fill the time and fill the space, because it's been a long time now that we're talking about not having our normal dog shows where everybody feels comfortable going and everything else. And, for us, we don't do a whole lot. We have a pretty quiet life to begin with. So it was just
us?
Well, we do dogs and stuff, but we're used to being home and being with each other and doing all that. And, other people that were home from work, they're sitting there with their dogs, getting kind of stressed. So it's nice to be able to go out and train those dogs. Did you guys do more training during the pandemic than normal? You kind of always train though, really.
Yeah, well, the problem I have, us personally.
Yeah.
We have some space, but we don't have a lot of equipment at home.
Yeah.
They actually, when in March we were locked down, we couldn't go anywhere. We didn't have any equipment here because we were not doing anything here.
Yeah.
Right.
We went to our place. So we didn't really train at all from March to about maybe May.
Okay.
And I was able to go to our place and start, bringing a couple jumps, a couple tunnels, and start doing the agility at home.
Yeah. And how has it been down there? Are you guys in a better place? The vaccine? What's going on with you and your experience through COVID down in Puerto Rico right now?
Well, from the beginning, there was a pretty good response in terms of people understanding that this was something serious. We were locked down pretty early. We were locked down in, I think it was March, maybe March 15 or something like that. We were locked down, nothing open, stay at home, everything. And from there, everybody that I've seen and understands it, wear your mask, not just for yourself, but for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And things like that. I mean, there's always going to be
one person.
People that are in the fringe and don't understand. But for the most part, it's been pretty good. Now we're starting to open up more, and I think personally it's getting a little out of control. I think
getting a little loose. Same here.
In terms of vaccine, it's going pretty good. We're now. I actually gonna take my first shot tomorrow.
Oh, good job.
I hope.
So yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the islands is they didn't get, well, I don't know about Puerto Rico, but the Virgin Islands, very low. Because you guys were able to shut down so early and people can't just walk over your border or drive in, it really helped to contain a lot of stuff down there,
Yeah.
At least with the St. Thomas, St. John, with Jess and I got married in St. John. And I mean, they have, 25 cases. It's real low numbers.
Yeah, they had good
there.
numbers. It was funny. His dad wanted to come home last year. He was down there when everything hit. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get, COVID on the plane and he's not going to wash his hands and he should just stay down there. Well, I guess he would have been down there a whole year. I mean, he could have been happy down there with the locals, but I was like, I guess it's good he flew back. So I'm glad you guys are doing okay and you're making it work and everything else. And let's talk about dogs, because that's where we met. And you guys did that even before I came on the scene, right? You guys had how many shows?
Yeah, we have the, I don't remember. It was, we had done quite a few. We had done at least 10 shows.
Yeah, so I don't even know how it all started. I don't even know what happened where, but Lou calls me and he's like, can you go to the Dominican Republic and can you do this show? So I flew down my Mal and my Border Collie. And then it seems like when I arrived, shit hit the fan and things went awry. So just describe your experience from dogs.
That's what happened when you moved out to see me.
Yeah, that's it. Wherever I go, it happens. So
let's go back.
Okay.
I first got a call from Arturo. The
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah.
And he had this idea. The show didn't exist at that point. So he calls me up because he knows PRAT, actually, I don't know, we didn't mention this, but PRAT is the only agility club in the island.
Okay.
So I was the only agility trainer, sports trainer. So he calls me and he tells me he has this idea. And I had already traveled with Lou to Chile, I think 2 years before that. Or something
Okay.
like that. And we did a few shows in Chile with Lou Mac. Travis was there with me, and a couple other people.
Yeah.
So I tell him to call Lou Mac.
Yeah.
So he does, and so everything starts from there. I also had a really good relationship with Purina, Puerto Rico. So I put him in contact with them, and they sponsored all the shows and everything. So
nice.
We started here in Puerto Rico. We did like 10 shows, at least, maybe more.
And were they big theater shows? Like what? For everybody that knows, Dogs was like a show with different sports stuff, frisbee, high jumping, agility, weave pole racing, tricks, everything else. It was just like a big theater show. So was it a big theater show in Puerto Rico too?
It was.
No, Chile, you mean?
The first show we were the first night. Actually, let me tell the story real quick. Our first show.
Yeah.
We were the 2 days before the first show. There was nothing.
Okay. Like nothing there.
We had dogs and we had handlers. We didn't have a show.
No equipment.
Nobody knew what we were gonna do.
Yeah.
So
good thing you guys are like family.
Yeah, myself and Annette Alfonso. I don't know if you know Annette.
I don't know. No.
Annette Alfonso.
Annette. Yes. You said her name quick. Yeah, Annette.
Yeah, Annette Alfonso. She had worked with Lou. So myself, Annette, Lou, and some of my guys.
Yeah.
We just sat down 2 days before the show. I was like, okay, what is the show?
What are we gonna do?
So we sat there with pen and paper, and okay, what do we have? We have agility, we have frisbee, we have tricks, we have clown, we have so what can we do? So let's showcase. Okay. And then we run down. Okay, and then the other thing was, okay, how much time do we have? We have 2 hours. Okay. So this has to go on for 15 minutes. This has to go down for maybe 20. And that's the way for those 2 days right before we started. We were just making sure that we had something. And then the night before the first show, we were there doing a run through with putting up the lights and music and the cues and everybody knowing their places, the crew knowing when to bring in the agility equipment, where to put it out when the next act was going to be in, and that timing. So we were practicing and going through it for until 3 a.m.
Before the first show. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I think you were doing flyball then too, right? Were you doing
we did
not yet?
after.
Oh, okay.
First,
so these shows in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
you did them on your own, you designed them, and it was like you cram all night. And then how did the first one go? Was it a success?
It wasn't crazy enough there to
the
get
first
fly
one-
ball.
How did the first one go?
We had no idea what was going to happen. We had no idea if people were going to come. We had no idea if it was going to be successful.
Yeah.
The first inkling we had that it was going to be huge. We were maybe an hour or two before the actual show.
Yeah.
And somebody picked out.
Thousands of
and there
people.
was this huge traffic jam outside of the Coliseum.
It's like the best thing that came to the island.
Yeah, I was like, this can't be for us. So we go outside, and right beside the Coliseum where the first one was, it's a huge shopping center. And people were parking in the shopping center and walking. First year. So that's where we got the first instinct of,
This is going to be something.
This is going to be good.
Yeah.
And actually people it got sold out. People were standing in line and no more tickets were available.
Oh my gosh. So it was an instant success.
It was amazing.
Can I ask you something, Rafael?
First time you just, they turned out the lights before we were going to start the first show.
Yeah.
And the whole Coliseum erupted. I swear.
The dogs are freaking out.
We had goosebumps. We couldn't believe it.
You're like rock stars.
I wanted to ask, with Purina sponsoring you guys, they must have, how did they get the word out? Were they on TV down there, or what was going on that everybody heard about this?
There were some TV spots, not many, but some TV
Enough.
spots. And, they had something that was really successful was that I have to give credit to the production, to Arturo. Mm-hmm. They did little leaflets that were like a voucher. It said with one adult ticket, you can bring one kid.
Okay.
And they brought those to different schools.
Oh yeah. So the kids got excited about that. Yeah.
The kids were pestering the parents, I guess.
Oh, that's great. So you did what, 11 down there, you said?
Something like that. At first we were going to do, I think it was like 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was so successful that they extended for a couple more. And then we were done. And every single one was sold out. And I think it was 2 months later after, then we did a couple more. And after that, then came the Dominican.
So the first time you left Puerto Rico was when we went to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and then we did it outside.
We did one on Santiago, and then we did one on each side of the island. I don't even remember. It's kind of maybe a little bit of it's a repressed memory. Okay. So tell me your end of it. So Puerto Rico goes great. This is a success. We're gonna take it on the road, and we took it on the road. And I showed up, and I'm like, holy crap. So all right. So what was different between the Dominican and Puerto Rico?
Everything.
Jess arrived. No, but it's crazy. So we had a bus. I feel like every time we were on the bus, all of us are on the bus and we're going into potholes and we kind of didn't know if we'd make it. There were moments of that.
I think we had 2 or 3 buses.
Yeah, and did they break? I don't even. It was a lot. The driving I remember was traumatic.
I think it was on the way to Santiago. Maybe we were stopped by cops.
Oh yeah. We're like a drug raid. We got drugs and all the dogs. So then I got locked in my hotel room, which you and Sharon let me take a nap in your hotel room, which is great. And I wasn't crazy because my dogs were with me, but had I not been able, had my dogs been in there, I would have been really stressed. And when you say oh well, why didn't you just go to the hotel security? We went and we're hey guys, we need a new key. And I think they took the door off, didn't they? It was crazy. I don't
even remember. I know actually Nicole was the one that found you.
Oh yeah, I'm just sitting outside my room
hear this. Yeah. Nicole is walking down the hallway of the hotel.
Yeah.
And she sees this woman sitting in front of a door with her hands in her face. And I think that's Jess.
Yeah, I know. I think the Malinois on one side and the Border Collie on the other gave it away. But so that was crazy. And then my dogs got left. I don't know if you even heard that story. I saw Lourdes and I was crying at the airport with Lourdes. But they came to me as I'm flying back to New York, and I drove from Michigan to New Jersey because I wanted a direct flight because it was 2 dogs flying cargo and I didn't want any change. So the stewardess comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, your dogs didn't make it on this flight. They'll be on the next flight." And I went to the front of the freaking plane and I was like, "Get me off this plane." I was sobbing. Literally, it's pulling away. And I go to the freaking warehouse. My dogs are sitting there next to the mangoes. I take both of them out of the crates and I'm go up to the guy's air-conditioned office. I'm "We'll be here until the next flight." So that was crazy. And then what other highlights do you guys have? I just feel like it was just so many, one thing after the other.
Yeah, it was. The miscommunication apparently with production from Puerto Rico and production in Dominican was
it really made Puerto Rico shine. So
it's hilarious now. We survived it.
Yeah, it was. That was our tagline.
It's a great experience. Yeah, it's a great experience to talk about. In the moment, it was pretty stressful.
I know.
Well, from what I heard as an outsider, is that Jess was asked to come back the next year, and she said, "No way, I'm
Well,
not going."
no, you
Or
guys
didn't
did
wanna go.
Venezuela the next, right? You did, was Venezuela? Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah, so
She was too traumatized
Arturo,
by it.
no,
Way better.
No, I know, but Arturo called me and I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna lay down some ground rules. Like I'm this like young white woman getting off a plane, like I want somebody there, and they're probably like, oh, she's too much to deal with. So then Omar got involved at that end, right? Or did he come down to Puerto Rico too?
He was in the second stint in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so you knew him already from then, and then he got looped back in with Venezuela, right?
Well, he's from Argentina
Or
anyway.
he got looped back in somewhere. Yeah, okay. So, and he's just like a great trick trainer. Scott used to train with him. But I mean,
amazing.
Omar is just, I don't even know what he's doing right now. We've had him on too, but he just does amazing tricks. I mean, I don't know. You probably saw things that you hadn't seen dogs do before you met Omar, right?
He's like a
He's doing a lot of,
national
movie work.
hidden jewel.
Yeah, and he had the bulldog, right? Then was he still with the bulldog? What dogs was he using?
What are they? The old English bulldogs?
Yeah, he had something that he was doing a bunch of tricks with. So
he had the Jack Russell as well.
yeah, oh my gosh. So the whole thing, it was just a crazy time, and it was just a crazy situation, and we're glad we survived. But yeah, everything got really good then when Jess pieced out. And then I think Todd Mernon got involved, so you guys still had the Mal thing, and it was great. But I'm telling you, it was stressful there. And like we talk about family, like we kind of all like relied on each other, like, okay, like we need each other.
Could I ask a question real quick? So you're bringing up where you did this tour was in Hispanic countries, right? I mean,
Well,
for lack of a better
South America,
description,
South America.
American countries.
Yeah.
You never brought it to the United States? This show? You did?
The last one I was involved with was in Miami.
How did that go?
We were there for...
I'm thinking about the crowds. Was there as much interest?
Not at all.
Isn't that crazy? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was too...
Not enough advertising, you think?
A little bit of that, but I just think, and I talked about that with the producing team.
Yeah.
In the States, in the Spanish, the South in here in Puerto Rico and South America and everything, it's not as common.
To see dogs
US,
performing, you're saying?
Every weekend.
Yeah.
So, if you want to see dogs doing agility, you can do every weekend. There's somebody doing it. Frisbee, same thing. So
the culture, it's a cultural thing.
It's just not something new.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Omar started as like a street performer too, didn't he? Wasn't he like doing that?
No, he was just doing basic. He started just doing basic obedience. Pet
No,
dogs
I know,
to make
but
a
before
living.
he moved,
He was doing.
I
a
feel
lot
like
of,
he was doing some shows and stuff. It just
he was at Santa Monica Pier every night, picking up a couple $100 in a few hours, and he would tell me, "Geez, I'm making like $1,000 on Santa Monica Pier," and that's what he was doing early on to supplement his movie stuff. All the different things.
But
he
it
was
is
doing.
also the value of stuff, because even in the Dominican, as crazy as that was, we had crazy crowds and the people were like super excited to come. And they really valued like that culture of like working with dogs and enjoying dogs. And then how do you see like dogs, are pet dogs similar like in Puerto Rico than they are in the States? Or like, do you
We're talking about the owners. The handling.
well, just in general, how's dog behavior where you are compared to us?
Well, does he know what it's like here?
On the, how could I say, there's people they treat their dogs like children, like they're part of the family, but there's also, the ones that still have the mentality of their dogs are for the backyard and just for security and whatever. So there's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. But sometimes they might even be better behaved. Sometimes the dogs in St. John were like, oh, they don't have any anxiety. Like they live outdoors. Like you got to make sure they don't have fleas, but there's less of that pampering and babying. So how many dogs do you guys have right now?
Be honest.
7 dogs and a cat.
That's crazy. You know what's so funny about this whole situation? Because I was telling Sharon I hadn't gotten a puppy yet from Lisa at the time. And I'm like, I'm getting an on-target puppy. And Sharon's like, they have big ears. And then she got Jovi, which of course he has the big ears. And now she's a Papillon person. So we're all about the big ears. She's got her listening ears everywhere. And you guys have Border Collies and Papillons, is that right?
Yeah, we have 4 Border Collies. We have a Papillon that was a rescue.
Yeah.
And we have a Sheltie, and now we have the baby pup.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do is get a cat, Rafa. she won't let me have a cat.
And the cat. We have a cat.
Oh, so thanks for one-upping me.
He can have a...
You can have a cat with his 11 dogs. And then
She says her allergies are no good with a cat, but we can have 15 dogs. That's okay.
we do not own 15
My
dogs.
cat loves the dog.
Don't listen to him. We don't own 15 dogs. And then tell me, you had a really special miniature schnauzer too, right? That I don't know if everyone
Bobby.
knows about. Yeah. And was that like your lead-in to agility?
Yep.
Okay. And
Bobby was actually a gift for Sharon.
oh, okay.
And when we were still dating.
Yeah.
And he was this little silver schnauzer, was really, really cute and everything, but he was a little terror.
I was going to say, a little killer you had there.
He was, biting the furniture and, destroying the toilet paper and everything. So when we first started with anything training, we took him to take obedience classes.
Yeah.
And actually, Annette was the one that was doing the classes with us,
Okay.
teaching us.
Yeah.
And then after that, then we started to see what agility was. We was really starting out here, was really, really small. And that's how we got started. I was like probably 97, 98.
Yeah, but he was a really successful miniature schnauzer for the sport because that's not people's normal go-to, and he was a badass. So, and it's nice because it's fun when we first met during that time. Like we know like those dogs that were like really special to us that like we all reflect on right now. You know what I mean? Because you guys had like Indy and Ziggy, and those times it's nice to like be able to go back to those times and stuff. So while times have changed, the dogs season and those tours, they were a lot. And I don't know if I'd go back to the Dominican, but if it ever came again, we could do something else. Well, Rafael, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to put a link into the Puerto Rico Agility Team Facebook page so you guys can find them and find out what they're doing and support them. And like we said, like agility is a great activity for dogs and owners. I mean, I'm sure you've seen your own teammates just really thrive and their dogs thrive with having that bond, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you guys kick butt. You're up here at the Invitational all the time. Like you're doing a lot of good stuff, like with a lot of different breeds. Like you have very good representation and excellent training. Like your dogs come up and it's like, wow, like let's act a little more like Rafo and Sharon and Nicole. So thank you for everything you do.
We've been lucky to have a lot of help from
it was a pleasure to meet you, Rafo.
Yeah, and good luck. I hope you can get back out here and judge at some point. I mean, at some point, we're going to be back opening up. And if you're in New England, we live in Southern Maine, we'll meet you wherever. We'd love to catch up and see you and everything.
And if anybody wants to try agility, fly to Puerto Rico.
Vacation and private lessons. I mean, here you go. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, thank you so much. Give Sharon my best. And you guys have a great day. And in the meantime, everybody out there, keep it quirky. Can I have a...
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.